Hey everyone, Frank Honus here. Good evening to you guys. This is the second Facebook Live video that I am attempting. Actually, I think it might be the third, but who's counting? I don't know. This Facebook Live thing is really kind of taken off, and it's got a lot of really great purposes and has a lot of great potential. So I wanted to sort of tap into it a little bit and posted a video last week. I think it was last week, talking about the need for community when we're sick and when we're struggling, when we're going through trials, and just the incredible need to have people around us, safe, healthy people that we can lean on. And so tonight, I wanted to take a few minutes and this one's sort of from the archive a little bit. I'm pulling this video a little bit from the archive. I'm sure you've heard of an audiobook where you listen to an actual novel or listen to a book. But I wanted to bring a blog that I almost said recently wrote, but I wanted to bring out of the archives a piece that I wrote in 2013. And actually, you know what? I don't know. Let me see here. It was from, see here. You know what? I don't have the actual date on here. I should actually look that up. That would be really good. So you can tell this is totally live right now. Man, I wish I had the date on this. That would be really great. Anyway, I don't have the date on it. I wrote this blog actually shortly after my son was born, my son Nathan. And I titled this blog, Protecting My Son from a Pornified World. A pornified, that's probably my word that I created, protecting my son from a pornified world. And if I could revise this blog, I would actually rename it to Protecting My Son and Daughter, because I have a daughter now who's just turned 1. Protecting my son and daughter from a pornified world, a porn-saturated, sexually saturated world and culture. So this was a blog that I wrote shortly after my son was born, and I wanted to actually read it. I wanted to read it and just kind of revisit it because someone actually posted it on their blog. I think it's Castimonia. The blog Castimonia reposted this article I wrote. Actually, here it is. Okay, on July 24th, 2014. July 24th, 2014. So this, in a couple weeks, we're going to be coming up on 2 years that I wrote this. So anyway, I wanted to read this to you and share my thoughts. Actually, now as a dad of a son, a boy, almost 3-year-old boy, and now the dad of a 1-year-old little girl. On October 3rd, 2013, I became an incredibly proud father to Nathan Lee Honus, our new baby boy. And the immense responsibility that I feel for our boy has never left my heart. I see that. Jeffrey, thank you for joining too, by the way. It's good to see you, man. I'm glad somebody can benefit from this. Congratulations. You know that immense joy of that, of turning your son. Is it a son or daughter that you have turning 3? Regardless, it's a proud moment. And the immense responsibility that I feel for our boy has never left my heart. It's true that when you become a parent, whether to a little boy or girl, an unexplainable love emerges from places you never knew existed within. I know that one of my primary roles as a dad is to be a protector to my son Nathan. And while there will be, and I add on to that, my daughter Addison, and while there will be many things in life that I can't protect him from as he becomes a young man, there are countless things I can help him avoid until that day comes. Namely, helping him throughout the next 18 years to understand what it means to be a man of sexual purity. I don't know yet how that first conversation about sex is going to go. Most likely it will be a bit awkward, and yet it will be a necessary one. Until that conversation takes place and beyond, there are a few areas that I want to model to my son in hopes of preventing him from making choices that will compromise his sexual integrity. And so I lay out a few areas here that I want to be a model and example to my son and to my daughter now. So I just want to talk just a few minutes about those areas. Number one, marriage. Marriage. I want to show Nate and Addie how much I love their mom through words of affirmation, affection, and service. And not only that, I want them to understand that their mom is also my wife. Respecting the opposite sex, whether parent or sibling or friend, is incredibly crucial things to learn. I want Nate and Addie to see a healthy marriage in action. So I want to model to my children a godly, loving marriage that is committed to Jesus, committed to each other, and and that's an example that I really feel like that our son needs to see, our daughter needs to see. Even now, my wife and I will, on purpose, and we do this because we want to, obviously, but on purpose, we'll hug each other and kiss each other. As our son and daughter are just, maybe they're eating or whatever, and we're just kind of buzzing around the kitchen. We'll hug each other and kiss each other, and my son just gets this big smile on his face. And one point recently, he said, "Mommy and Daddy love each other," and that's what he said. And that's the example. We want him to see those things. We want him to see that, and we want him to understand that it's not just something funny that we're doing. It's not just something we're doing to kind of get a giggle or whatever. We're doing it because we love each other. And we want him to see that. So I want to be a model and example to my son and my daughter in my marriage to my wife, in my commitment and my union to Tracy, my relationship with my wife Tracy. Number two, in the area of technology. In an age of smartphones and tablets, technology has advanced to unimaginable places, and I can't even begin to fathom what technology will look like when my boy and my daughter, my son and daughter, are in their teen years. Regardless, I want them to enjoy it while also understanding that technology has limits. Restrictions, time limits, and monitoring are all things I hope they will learn to appreciate. Privacy will not even be given the chance to turn into secrecy. I think that's really, really huge. That's a mistake that can be made sometimes. And I'm not criticizing parents in any way, but I think sometimes we give our children too much privacy, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have privacy. I think they should, but I think there needs to be a healthy boundary there between privacy and openness and honesty. So, I really mean that. Privacy shouldn't be given the chance to turn into secrecy. It's a totally different thing there. So I want to be a model and example to my children in our marriage, in my marriage to their mom, in the area of technology, but also in the area of spirituality. This is what I say here. I said, I don't think it's too naive to want my son to be more in love with Jesus than he is his iPad. I want him to understand the importance of pursuing purity in a sexually saturated world. Being a man of integrity who makes choices that result in good character are rare today, and I want them to stand. I want Nathan, I want Addison to stand above the rest. You might ask how these three areas can really prevent a child from accessing pornography and other sexually explicit material. Perhaps they won't. The sad reality in our day is that children can literally be doing their homework on a computer, and an advertisement that looks very innocent is really linked to a hardcore pornography website. But I believe in investing as much love and truth in my son as possible and my daughter. Helping them build a strong foundation of integrity in their lives is my goal, and I believe that it will go a long way if I'm able to do it well. Ultimately, there will come a point where Nathan and Addison will make their own decisions in life. It's my prayer that they'll be reminded of two parents that did everything they could to equip and train them to become a man and woman of sexual purity. So that's how I want to protect my son and my daughter. I know that there will be a point where I will have to take my hands off of them, but I know that there is a long, long period of time here that I can be doing my job as their dad, to be modeling sexual purity and sexual integrity and protecting them from a world and from a culture that is just saturated, that is pornified, that is saturated with sex, unhealthy messages of what sex really looks like. And so just trying to catch up here with some of the comments here. Bear with me a second here. Jeffrey, yeah, that's really great, Jeff. Your 10-year-old daughter knows that you monitor all of her activity on her devices and with her protection. That's fantastic. That's a great conversation to have. That's really great. I'm going to give that a little thumbs up. Can I do that? Yeah, there we go. Give that a little thumbs up. I'll give you the last two little thumbs up too. There we go. So she saved enough birthday money as stuff to get her very own iPod. Now she trusts us to monitor use because we talk to her about it first. That's fantastic, man. That's great. That is so great. I'm curious how that conversation went with her. Was that an awkward conversation? Was it an understanding conversation? Was it a breeze for you? Give me some advice, brother. I need some advice. So I do think that, we will get to that place where we have that conversation, and but I want to be modeling even before we have the conversation. I want to be modeling to our kids the importance of of a godly marriage, of respecting and not idolizing technology, but respecting technology and its place in their lives, and also spirituality, loving Jesus, and realizing that God is. God is everything. He loves us. He wants the very best for our lives. He wants us to be, people of honesty and truth and integrity. And so, I just thought this was kind of a cool. First of all, I was honored, and I was very thankful that this blog featured my blog. This website featured my blog from 2014, and it was fun to kind of bring up again and read to kind of come back to. So. Yeah, it started out awkward. That's great that you guys are so honest with her, that you're very, very open, transparent with her. Fantastic, man. So you say I don't feel awkward like my daughter does because I know it's good for her. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think there was something I was reading as Jeff, as you're on here, and those who watch this video, there's something I was listening to today that ties right into this, a podcast that I was listening to from Chris Valaton, who is the one of the associate pastors at Bethel Church in Redding, California. It's called the Law of First Mention, the principle of first mention, where basically it kind of goes like this, that your children, if we don't have the conversation first, especially about sex, about healthy sexuality, we don't have that conversation first. So for example, the scenario is if we do have the conversation, back it up a little, if we do have the conversation first with them, when we set the groundwork for what the message is, the healthy message of sexuality, their understanding begins with that first mention. Their understanding, everything they hear from that point on, they base and they judge on that first conversation and that first exposure to that talk that mom and dad had with me. And whether it's the message from school or things they hear in public or from their friends or whatever it might be, they will base everything after that from that first conversation. And likewise, the opposite is true, that if they hear that first message and that first mention about sex, that homosexuality and bisexuality and trans, all that stuff is normal, then and we try to come out after that, we kind of try to come in after that, then they'll be judging everything we say, and they'll be measuring everything we say and assessing everything from what they first heard. So there's a powerful principle in that, I really think, and Chris explained it way better than I probably just did. But it's the kind of the law, the law of first mention, and I think there's a lot of truth there. So and nowadays in our culture, it's becoming so. Our kids are finding out earlier and earlier and earlier about sex. They're learning about sex. They're seeing things that are challenging their minds and their hearts. And so, I agree with you, Jeff. I think most parents do shelter way too much. And, I'm probably going to be tempted to do that myself. But at the same time, because I want to protect my kids. I want my kids to make good choices, but we've got to be able to at some point release them and hand them over to the Lord. And but I want to do everything I can as a dad to love on my son and daughter, and to really be the example to them in a sexually in many ways a sexually perverse, sexually twisted world. I call it again, this is probably a made up word, but it's a pornified world that we live in. So anyway, there's just a few thoughts tonight from my brain and my heart. And again, this was a blog from July 24th, 2014 that I featured on then the Pure Life podcast. Now it is called, rebranded, Purity for Life. And you can check out lots of resources. There's lots of resources, blog content, videos, all the archives of podcasts that I've done on purityforlife.me. So hope that will be a blessing to you. If you need to contact me, if you need some help, some support, if you have questions, if you're struggling and you just need a little bit of understanding, you need someone to kind of come alongside you, I'd love to be able to help you out, get you started on the journey for sexual purity and sexual integrity. There's a lot of ministries out there that do this, a lot of really big ones, and I'm a pretty small fish, but I know for the last 4 or 5 years, I've just had a passion to help men and women, primarily men. My wife works with women, but primarily men on their journey for sexual purity and sexual integrity. So, so thank you so much, Jeff. It was really good. I'm glad at least one other person was able to join this Facebook Live video. Thank you so much, man. I'll give that a little thumbs up too. That'd be awesome. And so I'm going to be sharing this video out on my actual my own personal Facebook page, and would love to, Jeff, if you feel so led, to share this with anybody you know, or anybody who could use that. This will be posted tonight, a little bit later tonight, and on the website, purityforlife.me. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this. Protecting my kids from a pornified world. It's a real priority for me, and I hope it is for you as well. So thank you so much for being with us. Facebook Live, this is a brand new experience for me. So if I'm awkward, it's because I am. If it seems like I'm awkward, it's because I'm probably acting awkward, because this is different. So have a great night. Have a great week. Jeff, thanks for joining me, man. Good to see you. And shoot me a message if you have any questions, purityforlife.me. We'd love to talk to you. God bless. Have a great night. See you later.